I'm going off to a place called St.Neots. According to the sat-nav and all that malarkey, it's 38 minutes away. But this is Fenland, and there's a weird thing about Fenland. I'm just on my way to see a friend of mine, Peter, and his group. They're doing a vigil. Time is totally different here. Yeah, Fen time. Like it will say 15 minutes to destination and 30 minutes later you're still trying to get there. It's a very clammy 16 degrees, very humid today. This thing about Fen time, and you can go there two ways. You can either go by the motorway route, which is the M11 or the A14 or whatever it's called, and you can go cross country on the country roads. The weird thing about it is if you go via the motorway route, you'll do twice as much mileage and you'll get there in exactly the same time. If you go across country, obviously then by definition you do half the mileage, use half the fuel, and you still get there at the same time. And I've done this for years now. It's bizarre. The motorway is a complete waste of time. There's Fenland Fisheries we just passed in there, where I lost a drone the other day. There goes the drone in the lake. So it's sunk. Shocking. It's watery grave. I'm going to retrieve it in the summer. Get my wetsuit on and dive in. Jacques Cousteau, in search of the lost drone. Okay, Google. Show my destination.
Your destination is St. Mary's Church, Easton-Stokan.
The M11, chock a block with traffic. Finally got here. Just on our way up to see Peter now.
This is not a Quaker event, although obviously the Quakers are very involved in peace as a testimony.
Right.
And this is a vigil that we've been doing for about the last 6 months in all weathers, and this is probably the best weather we've had.
Wow.
Ever.
I picked the best day.
Yeah, you picked the best day. So we stand outside the west door of St. Mary's Church here. Get the flowers, because they're just beautiful flowers. I mean, I can't think you could see a better display of flowers than this.
Sometimes they ignore us, sometimes they thank us, sometimes they engage in dialogue with us. All kinds of reactions, but very interesting. It's just a half a dozen of us or so, sometimes 8, sometimes 6, sometimes 4. There's even been 2 or 3. Debbie is sort of furthest away from the wall. She's my partner.
We've got the chance to change our minds now.
I'm going to be Jeremy now. I think I'll go with Christine first, because she's the founder.
I started this in September because I felt really prompted by the world situation, and I felt that peace is something that in this country we just take for granted. We assume that we're always going to have it, that we're all comfortable, we can do what we like, life goes on. But I felt people needed to be challenged, and that we stand here as a witness to the fact that everyone, even here in this sleepy Cambridgeshire town, needs to think about what peace is. Should they take more responsibility for the way the world is, for peace in the world? And we can't just be complacent and assume that it'll all happen and we don't have to do anything about it. The way we treat our neighbours, immigrant people that move next to us, people of different races, genders. Perhaps we all need to start waking up and asking ourselves, do we need to do more about making sure our world, our community, our lives are peaceful? And us standing here, I hope people walk by, see our posters, our signs, the fact that we're prepared to stand here for an hour every week, in the cold, the rain, every kind of weather, and we have. But why do those people do that? What makes them do that every week? What's that about? We're peaceful here.
when I learnt that Christine was doing this outside the church, and I came along thinking it had been going on for some while, but it was one of the very first sessions, and I've continued to come because I think it's something I wouldn't have thought of doing, and the more I've done it, the more I've valued actually being here, seeing the change in people walking by, that there was a certain suspicion and hostility that's been replaced over the months by, with many people, some interest. People talk to us, and I think it's a process of acceptance, and I think that represents in a way what the peace process has to be. It's not going to come about because you're trying to bang heads together. It's going to come about when people actually start listening to each other.
I joined the Peace Vigil when it began in September. I didn't know that was the first week, and I think the reason I came, I've been involved with peace work and activism for a few years, but my particular thing is against the arms trade, and I feel very passionate about the arms trade. And I see on the news every day visions of pictures of war and migrants, and I feel very much that root is within the economics of the arms trade, which we're benefiting from and very complicit in this country. So that's why I'm here. But also, although that was my main motivation, I love standing here. I think it's a part of my community, and I think we spread a good message to the people who pass. And I think a very important part of that as well is not many people are aware that at the moment there are non-proliferation discussions taking place, and the UK, although it always says that it wants multilateral disarmament, does vote against it. And I think people aren't aware of that, and they should be much more aware of that.
Church.
Right.
It sounded good. I thought, yeah, come and try it. I'll come the first when we first started. Yeah.
Someone has to start somewhere.
Yeah, we both started at the same time. Yeah, she said, come on, yeah. As she said, yeah.
It's great.
They all think you're the BBC.
They probably would do. Yeah.
You should get a few words from this chap. This is a friend of mine. He's a colleague of mine. He's not in the peace movement or anything, but he's come down to film us today. And I'm sure, you know, it would be nice if you had a few words you could say about what you feel about us being here, because you did say a few things about us being here, didn't you? That you thought was a.
I appreciate everything that these individuals are doing, and I really do, because peace is exceptionally important. There will never be peace. Have a look around the world and have a look at history.
Does it mean we should stop trying?
No.
You know, we'll never find a cure for cancer. And what was it we said earlier? Women will never get the vote. You know, Northern Ireland, the peace will never happen. The Berlin Wall will never come down. You know, look back at our history, all the things we thought would never happen. At last, people of different genders have been able to be more publicly, you know, together. Things are changing on that front. There'll never be a women priest. There's a whole list of it'll never happen.
Prime Minister?
Yeah, so why shouldn't that be the same with wide cultural acceptance and total faith in war as being an acceptable means to solve our differences?
You can't end wars because in the happiest families, they are happy families, because there are squabbles. The nature of those squabbles can change.
It's how you deal with it, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's the point. It's, you know,
and it's keeping war as the central biggest. This is what we know. It can be shunned to the side a bit, and other things move into its place. I just think it's a time thing, but those are things that happen. I think it's important for people to think that. My mother says that. She says, I never thought I'd see that happen. You know, she said that about Northern Ireland, and she said that about all sorts of things. She says, I never thought. I know slavery continues. We all know that underground, but for years it was never.
They
going to
never
end.
believed that was going to end.
No.
The black slavery in America
and the civil rights.
They never believed that would
You know,
end.
there are lots of things that at the time humanity had absolutely no confidence would ever change. And people that stood up like us and said they were laughed at. They were laughed at. It'll never happen. People are like that. People always do this. You'll never change that. You'll never change that. Well, me, I'm a bit of a rebel. So the minute somebody says to me, "You'll never change that," I go away and think.
It's nice to meet you again, Trevor. If you smoke, come back and see us next week.
So
meeting Peter and his friends and their peace vigil. Every movement has to start somewhere.